Hi, this is Dorothy Smith. You're close to my heart, independent maker, and I am showing you today the Serendipity scrapbooking workshop. The colors are gorgeous. There are a new color called Blue Belle, along with Toffee and French vanilla. And these are absolutely gorgeous pages. But with the kit, you get the Blue Belle glitter gems in large and small. And of course, you always get the picture holders. And you get this beautiful sheet of stickers that has shiny gold. And these are the background and texture papers. So, two each of the highlighted papers. That's going to be a background paper. And then we get two pieces for a piece of linen, a piece of toffee, a piece of Blue Belle, and Sapphire was the first one. And then these are exclusive papers that go with this particular kit. So you are only going to see these with the kit. And these are die cuts for each of the layouts, layout 1, layout 2, and layout 3, and they are stated which ones they go with. So, you really don't have to do this, but I just do it for me. So, and then I put them each with the pages that works with, and then I can just grab like its own little kit. So I'm also going to show you the cutting because the cutting is really quite minimal anymore with all of our die cuts that come with the kits. The cutting is fairly basic. And so here are 3 layouts. And there also have some suggestions to use Blue Belle ink and a thin cut, a die cut machine, sponge, and some sandpaper if you've got it. Super fine. I have some that is specifically for scrapbooking use. I have a little sponge thing applicator that has the stickum sandpaper that goes on it to make it real easy to handle. And so I am going to, of course, first things first is cut off the 1/2-inch zip strips and just kind of get those out of the way. You can put those into the scrapbooking bag because we're not going to use this for the kit. And this background is getting a 1/2 inch cut off on either end. So first the 1/2 inch zip strip, and then another 1/2 inch, and flip it around, and another 1/2 inch. So, and then they're showing you, and these are probably the most complicated cuts that we're going to do. And first you cut them down so that you're cutting through the 12-inch length, and you cut them to 6 right in the middle. And then you cut them off right at the designated part so that each of them are going to be their own little strip, and we're going to cut these into triangles. So so the most complicated part is making the triangles, but this part is very, very simple and very obvious of where you cut. So to cut the triangle, I'm just going corner to corner on the rail or in the groove. And then we will use those triangles to make kind of a starburst or a sunburst, whichever you want to call it. But super easy to do this, and you can do this with any paper. You can cut, 6-inch strips that are, 2 to 3 inches wide. This one is probably 1.25 inches. And then cut it into triangles like this, and then you can make a starburst, which is really a fun, very effective looking background. It's got a lot of punch to it. And they're fun to make, frankly. So you're going to see what we do with, there'll be a lot of ripping and tearing going on with these triangles. And all sorts of exciting things, too, with the embossing machine. I did not have, they suggested using a spring floral, a floral embossing envelope that we sell, but I didn't get it, not realizing that they were using it for this. But really you could use, if you have another floral, I happen to have a stitched overlapping circle embossing folder, and you'll see why that was kind of a cool thing to use for this first layout. So that's because I like repetitive patterns. I like if you have one pattern that's in your whatever you're working on, and then you repeat the pattern, it just kind of coordinates the entire whatever artwork you're working on, in my opinion. So I think I've told you before, I learned that from being a docent at the Dallas Arboretum. A house was built with an octagon in mind, and so there were rooms that were octagons. There was a baptismal font in the foyer that was an octagon. The driveway was an octagon. The house itself was an octagon cut in half. It was I was so impressed with that any repeating pattern after that just got my vote. Okay, so I'm cutting this at, I think it's 4 inches, and these are going to be like 6.25. I think I'll get the instructions out to see what exactly it is, since you can't really see it. Yeah, 6.25, and then you get 2 pieces that are 6.25 by 4.25, and then of course the toffee is going to be cut by 4.5, 2 strips of 4.5, and then they get cut down to 6.5 and 3.5. So each of the strips gets cut into 4 different pieces. I mean, each strip gets cut into 2 pieces, so you get 4 pieces. And those toffees are going to be used in the first layout. And then the next one is the French vanilla. No, it's linen. I'm sorry, it's not French vanilla, it's linen. And we're going to do a strip that is 6.25, and then you flip it around and do 4.25 and 4.25, and then 3.25 by 4.25. That linen it's so light. It's easy to think it's an off-white. So this strip gets cut at 3.25, and so we're going to have a square that's 3.25 by 3.25, and another square that's 2.25 by 2.25. Imagine that, a square. Same measurement on both sides. Okay, so that is the basic cutting that we're doing. So all of my scraps and the zip strips are going to go into the bag, the plastic bag, and then I can keep all the parts together. So anything that's left over can be used for making some cards or whatever. So that pretty floral is going to be on the, go on the 12 by 12. Probably doesn't matter which way they go, but one side looks more upwards than the other side to me. So really what you want to do is go ahead and stick the floral down on the sapphire, rather than do what I'm gonna do here. So you've got just 1/4 of an inch sticking out all around. So it looks really nice. Now, if you see these die cuts, so I'm kind of punching out the kind of a diamond pattern there, and then the floral is going to peek through. So they've got these this die cut all scored. So all you have to do is fold it, and it's really easy to fold. And those are cute little shapes that could be used for something. Or you could throw them out if you don't want to keep a whole bunch of scraps. But they're kind of a cool, an unusual shape. So I'm just kind of folding along the score all along. And I use the bone folder, but it makes a nice little window for the flowers to peek through. So that's what that's all about. And there's a nice dotted pattern. It's sort of like splatter, like a little ink splatter across the background. So it's, it has its own amount of detail. Now I'll tell you that I ended up using some Tombow on the other side of the flap just to have them stick down. Otherwise, they're just kind of sticking up. I thought they'd lay down better with the bone folder. But they kind of stick up, so I use some Tombow. You can do whatever you want to do. If you want to use a liquid glue on there to keep them down permanently, just depends on what you're comfortable using. I'm a Tombow kind of gal. So there's detail in here that you want to kind of pay attention to. So it's, you want to attach the overlay die cut on top of 1A, which is the floral piece. And then fold back the large overlay die cuts along the scored lines, and then place 1B inside the embossing folder and run through an embossing machine. So that's kind of a nice background in itself, isn't it? That dotted. But I went ahead and put it down on the floral and then put the whole thing. So now it's harder to put the Tombow on because it's sticking up, as you can see. But, doesn't stop me. So I'm just putting some Tombow on it and getting it down. And look at how nice that looks. And we haven't done a whole lot yet. So I'm going to go ahead and Tombow, and then I will show you what I'm going to do with the pieces that are the background pieces for the Toffee. So the 4x6. And then for page 2, it's also a 4x6 and 2 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 pieces. So now you don't have to do this. You could just put it down as it is. You don't have to do the embossing folder. I'm doing it just so you can see what the detail looks like, but you totally don't have to do this. So I'll tell you when this is an extra thing, and this is definitely an extra thing. So the embossing folder, I found I had to go look for it through all my embossing folders. See, it's a stitch circle and they're overlapping. So the shape looks just like our little circles with the little windows. And I thought, well, how cool is that? Who knew? So I just decided to go ahead and use that. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of the, I am having a hard time because I don't have my machine set right. I had it set for, it wasn't set for an embossing folder, it was set for a thin cut. And then I have it set and it's going through there too loosely, so it's not giving me an impression. You'll see. Yeah, because I'm a goofball. I forgot I had the machine set for thin cut. So I'm having to tighten up the machine just a little bit to give a little bit more impression. Get it going there, Dorothy. And that's one thing that's really nice about this machine is that it's has a full scale of positive and negative. So you can make it as tight or as loose as you want. And there's a lot to be said for that because you can do all sorts of different things with the fact that the tension can change so much. So the thing that's kind of cool, we're going to go back and to make the embossed part stand out more, then I'm going to take the sandpaper and go over the top, and that will make the design show up. So you can see that design is on there. Now I'm going to do the, yeah, and I can't do two of them. They won't fit in there. Always trying to save a second. So many times I do that and I end up having to do something over 3 times, so I don't really save myself much time. So, like I said, this is totally unnecessary. So if you don't have an embossing machine or embossing folders, you know, don't even worry about it. Just use the plain backgrounds to go as a background for your photos. So, but I did like the fact that I had these stitch circles. Who knew that it was going to come in handy for something way down the line, because I bought this quite a while ago. There we go. Hopefully I can put this machine away. We'll pull it out again later on and you'll see something else that we do that's pretty wild, actually. Hadn't really done it before. Yeah, just put it on through there and get it out of the way, Dorothy. I do love this machine. So there's the scale I was talking about. So 2D emboss, it was on die cut. And then the press and twist is for loose and tight. And so you've got a big scale there to work with. Okay, so here's my, see how just like that. So here's my little sandpaper. And I'm just lightly taking the top off. And you just see how the design, isn't that cool? It's really neat looking. Anyway, that's a nice technique. You can use that anytime for anything. So there's the beginning. Whoops. And there's what it looks like afterwards. So darn cool. And so easy to make something that's just has such a pop to it. Very cool. Okay, there's my backgrounds for my pictures. So don't you just love those windows with those beautiful flowers sticking through? I think it's just such a neat paper and such a neat idea. So these happen to be my husband's favorite colors. blues and tans together. It's just, he'd have everything that color if it was up to him. So I'm just putting my 4x6 photo placement holder there, and kind of just laying down those ones that I had folded back because the picture has got to go over it. See how you can use actually both sides of the paper, because whether the design goes in or sticks out, it's still cool looking. So it just kind of depends on what you like. I have an insistent dog here. I think she's hungry. I think she's always hungry, huh? You got a big head, Daisy. I disappeared. I have to tell you, I have no idea where I went. Anyway, so I enjoy doing these papers. I've had the kit for a while, but I haven't really felt up to it. I'm getting a little bit of energy back, but I do have to go sit down quite a bit. Excuse me. So I'm getting, oh, that's what I went to get, is some thin. I only had the big thick foam tape here. I had to go back into my club room and get some of the, fortunately I had some back there, some of the thinner foam tape. So these are all going to be, there's quite a bit of dimension going on with this kit, with these layouts, which is, you know, maybe that's what, no, that I like it because it's dimensional, but also like it because I just love that flowered paper. And so I am just lining up the mat to the corners of the little windows there. So, and the Tombow isn't, there's a lot of strength in these flaps, maybe because they're not long and they're just very short. But boy, I'm having to really get that down there. The Tombow isn't even holding it real well. So I just kind of work with that for a while to try to get it to bend to my will. That's a joke, right? And those little flaps, the one stays down and the other one goes over. Sometimes they overlap the flaps that come together, and sometimes they just lay one down on top of the other. It kind of depends on where the little window is. Anyway, so I've had this kit for a while, and I'm just finally getting to do it. It's still available on dorothy.ctmh.com or dorothy.closetomyheart.com. So if you like this, you can go out and get the scrapbook kit. You can get it either with or without the plastic pages that hold it to go into the album. If you buy volumes of the plastic pages, then you don't have to buy it with there. But if you don't keep them around, it's real convenient to have them come in the kit, and then just have them ready, have everything ready to go right into the album. So these dimensional die cuts and also the stickers, they're not dimensional, but these die cuts, they look dimensional. That flower looks dimensional and it's flat, but I mean, it was so beautifully printed that it just really looks like it's dimensional. And I love these stickers. That was not the right one for that. It was way too big for it, I think. I think I picked the wrong one out. You kind of have to be careful with these stickers of what goes where. There we go. So we have a sticker, but I'm taking the stickum away so it can overlap the picture. Don't you love how we do that? I think it's kind of funny. Taking some more of the stickum so it can stick over. There we go. And then these are the die cuts that get kind of put around there, and then this is a little teensy journaling part that's big enough for maybe the date and the place. I was looking at this and I thought, well, there isn't a whole lot of place to journal much. You could do it, at the bottom there. But we also have the Picture My Life cards. And I pulled mine out, and after the fact, I put a Picture My Life card on, I think on the second page of this layout, so that there's more place to journal. And, it came out looking real nice. I put it on one of the 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 places for, where a picture would go. I put the journaling. And I thought, well, that was really handy. The Picture My Life cards are very inexpensive. And you can make super quick cards with them. They run $6.50 for 12, and for 24, that's 12 each of 4 by 6 and 12 each of 3 by 4s. And so some of them are used for, some of them have just little sayings on them that you can use for title cards, or there's some lines on some of them that you can use for journaling. So you can, if you have some blank pages and you want to make some more pages to go with, a layout, then you can, use the Picture My Life cards for titling and for journaling. Plus, you can make cards out of them. So they're inexpensive. You get a lot of stuff for your money, and you can make lots of cards with them. And they're like no-brainer cards. Like you can put the 4 by 6 can go on a 4 1/4 by 5.5 card, and just cut it down a little bit, and you're ready to go. It's got a background on it, and some of them have sayings on it, and you put that on top of the background, and boom, there you are. Okay, so here comes page 2, and I really like this shape. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I do like the shape. So this one, our first picture was a vertical picture. This one's going to be a horizontal picture. So I have to make a point to take verticals because most everything I shoot is horizontal. I have a really hard time remembering to do verticals. But with Instagram, you kind of have to do verticals. So I need to get my brain wrapped around that. So same kind of thing, using my bone folder or whatever you have to try to get these little flaps under control. And then it comes down to using the Tombow with it. And that one's going to get, yeah. So there's a couple of pieces where you fold them together. So once again, we've got the 4 by 6, and I'm putting my photo placeholder in there. just adding a little bit more. There was a corner that didn't have a whole lot of detail showing through. And what's cool is the little flap that shows has, you know, kind of a distressed look. So we're kind of mimicking the distressed look on the photo mat. So once again, you're just making the whole thing kind of coordinate. So here we go. This is, I'm getting all the Tombow on there and just dib and dab here and there. And then going directly, it's exactly the same size as the 11.5 by 11.5 flowered piece. And then also the thin foam tape. And then I learned to not fold those flaps over, because that's just going to set right there. And so there's the one, and then the smaller pieces are going to go here. And this is where on one of these 3x4s is where I came back and put a journaling card that really was perfect for it. It had some little flowers on there, and just perfect, and exactly 3x4, so it fits right there where a 3x4 photo would go. If you had other photos that you wanted to put there, then you could get flip flaps, 3x4 flip flaps, and make a little waterfall and add more pictures with the flip flaps. Oh my God, the dogs are playing under my desk. And they just had a whole bunch of embellishments out on the floor. That serves me right for not putting them away. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna take the little gold stripe piece off. Look at how shiny it is. And there's all these little kind of snowflakes, these little gold flakes, I don't know what else to call them, that just kind of add a little sparkle here and there. And you just have to be careful, because I think I ended up using a flower where I wasn't supposed to use a flower, and then when I needed a flower for the third layout, it wasn't around. So I don't know what I did, but you want to be careful about what goes where. Oh well. It's not a big deal. There's no scrapbook police, Dorothy. It's okay. Okay, so I'm going to put down these little... My husband is the Cricket King in there. He's been making t-shirts to beat the band. So here's all these little blue leaves that are just so pretty. They look watercolored because the color varies so much. And I'm not putting any Tombow anywhere near the picture. So all the things that overlap the pictures are free of any kind of adhesive. So you gotta wonder. What was supposed to go there? They have a picture of a pale blue flower, but I don't think I could find the pale blue flower. It looks like the right flower to me. I think that's fine. And the darker leaves just really stick out nicely. It's just so many little, just a couple of little leaves that just look like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what that needed there. I think it's just so amazing. I love it. And I love to put these together. Really, it's a lot of joy in it for me. It's just feels creative. You're making something pretty. And kind of, you feel accomplished after, at least I do. I feel very accomplished afterwards. And I always learn something new. Here we go. Come on, stick. Be good for me. I hope you can't hear the noises my husband's making. Dear goodness. Okay, so now we're going to do the Blue Belle glitter gems that are so absolutely beautiful. And I'm looking for the small ones. There they are. And even as small as they are, they just make such a difference. So, there we go. There's my layout. And now, is that not gorgeous? It's gorgeous. You have to say it's gorgeous. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye now.